On the rand, the report suggests that it is not the report from the Competition Commission. It is the report from the Economic Transformation Subcommittee. Work still needs to be done, but nonetheless, the working committee was very clear that part of that work includes the work of declaring this as a criminal act and an act of corruption. It must not be sugar-coated. Part of that work includes the work that structures of government have got to process that report in relation to its standing and its implication for the financial sector in the country. National Treasury will have to also respond to this. So that includes government intervention. So in this particular instance, we need a more comprehensive response. Not a response that says there was not an act of criminality when people have admitted to the wrongdoing, and publicly so. And then this is what we say as the ANC, informed by those acts of admission to wrongdoing, that steps and action must be taken. So these matters should not be fudged and be hidden to the point where everyone believes that it is a matter that will fade away. This collusion happened in this country when the big construction companies during 2010 colluded. And then it was just a slap in the wrist, and then the matter was done away with. But corruption cannot be weighed in relation to how much money you've got. And if it was corruption in the public service, it would have meant a lot of hullabaloo, and including these people will actually be making a lot of noise. So there was corruption here of the PPEs. Government moved, established the fusion center. A lot of money was recovered by SIU. People were prosecuted to recover the money, public money. Here now the banks colluded, worked to devaluate our rand for whatever reason. Millions, trillions of rands, it is said, went into their direction. So this matter, and then how many people, ordinary people, citizens, were affected by that? Households and so on. So this matter, the NWC felt that it must be attended to, and we will get much clearer when we get to the NEC about how far government has gone in taking steps also in dealing with this issue. But law enforcement must act in relation to acts of corruption, including corruption in the private sector. And that's what we are talking about. Nkodisi and Mabasa, we are reporting here that actions have been taken, including opening a case, and these matters have been followed up by law enforcement in the country. So we are working and cooperating with law enforcement in dealing with this matter. Nkodisi is not in the payroll of the ANC, but these matters have been deferred to the disciplinary internal processes of the ANC from the point of view of the employer. But we will not leave him, even where he's employed in the Free State. As a member of the ANC, given that report, he will be brought to book for what they've actually done to hurt the African National Congress. So steps will be taken, and steps have also been taken to deal with the matter internally in terms of discipline in the organization. So the general manager is handling that particular issue. We will not discuss the judgment and what judges said, because they did not allow us to argue in court in terms of the SCA. Our application to allow the evidence of the forensic to be admitted was dismissed. So to argue on the reports that the owners of the report were not allowed to table, it's a bit unfair, because those questions will be answered. Edward Nathan Sonneberg Company is a reputable firm, well known, and their report is on the letterhead, and it was conducted thoroughly in terms of this matter. The ANC might have been lax in terms of diligently and moving faster in dealing with this criminal act, but it does not mean that it is not a fraudulent and a criminal act. It is. And that will be pursued with everything at our disposal. More so, facing a possibility of paying out huge sums of money to an act of criminality. So you can't just leave it like that. Actually, this thing is more than just, it is a heist, actually. It is a heist that has been meted upon the African National Congress. It is a heist, and a big one. Like all heists, they happen with internal conniving at the shop floor. Like all heists, they happen like that. It's a tip-off, working inside, that today we are transporting 10 million, be on the alert. That's what we have found in the police over time, that all heists are not just happening without information and working of people internally. So this is a fraudulent matter. It's not a case of people who are making a genuine issue. What makes it more credible is because people who worked in the office actually provided these documents to the party, which is Ezulwini. People who worked in the ANC provided these documents to them. Nowhere in our dealings in the election house did we ever had a report which is not from anyone that says that we've got posters to the tune of 102 million and be aware of that. Nobody. The head of elections account to the officials, account to the NWC, account to the NEC, account to the subcommittee. That's what the head of elections does. Doesn't work alone. Where in the subcommittee has it ever emerged that we've got posters to the tune of 102 million? 102 million posters, it means the whole campaign. The ANC struggled financially, and yet we had 102 million posters that were procured. So what I'm saying to you is that that thing was not there. They will argue till they turn blue. They will give you reports, faceless reports. I'm telling you now, on behalf of the ANC, we never entered into any contract with Ezulwini. And when you enter into contracts with people, it is done above board. There is nobody who can take a unilateral decision to procure for 102 million without the knowledge of the treasurer of the ANC, which is Paul Mashatile. There's no signature of Paul Mashatile, nothing to the so-called piece of paper. And then you are then supposed to pay 102 million. How will that happen? We can't take a decision here today without the TG of the ANC and their knowledge and agree with Mahlengi that we are now going to procure posters for 200 million. It must be approved. It must go through processes. So yeah, it is an arrangement. Give me that paper to justify this. And then that is it. Now, the report summary and all of that, we've got the report. We've got the report. It is not summary. We've got a detailed forensic report from a credible firm, and then they did the thorough work. It is not Mbalula. It meant even myself, I was investigated, and everybody involved, Paul Mashatile and everybody, were investigated. If you understand forensics, how they actually work. So they produced the report at the end, which that report was dismissed by SCA. Now, on technical basis, even criminals win cases on technical basis. But the moral of the story is that we never had a contract with these people, such that we can go all the way to oppose a genuine small company that procured stuff for the ANC, and the ANC is refusing to pay. And it answered the question of Samkel. Now, CFO of Bujanala, we've got the report. This week, I met with the provincial leadership. Before I came into this meeting, I missed the call from the chair. We have written to those comrades. Nobody will do as they wish in the ANC. That CFO and the things that they have done, and those who have done those things of employing somebody who is implicated in VBS, there will be consequences on them. Because they did that thing arrogantly. We can no longer allow perceptions to hang on that we are a corrupt organization and we do nothing about corruption. We can't allow that. Comrades in the council, mabalauleke. They cannot go with their eyes open and their minds, go and employ somebody who's implicated into something, and then you go and confirm that person as CFO. That decision, if it is not implemented by today, there will be consequences before end of the week. If it means the Secretary General writing to them and bringing them to book, that will happen. The constitution of the ANC allows. I don't even have to write a letter. I will tell them telephonically, one by one, what must actually happen. But for now, I've given space to the province to handle the matter, and I'm sure Nono was giving me a feedback on that particular issue. Roger Jardine, we are very much aware that Roger Jardine's name comes from the so-called Moonshot Pack and the whatever that you call charter. What is it? Multi-party charter. Of course, there are people in the ANC, some of them have got no mandate of the organization, who are entertaining fears of ANC dropping below 50%. There are many. But I can tell you right now, they've got no mandate of the organization. There's no ANC that met at any given point in time and given instructions to its members to go and negotiate on its behalf about the possibility. And I can tell you right now, we'll still be together. I don't know when is the election. The ANC will be back into power. And I will be standing here on this podium because I know that the members and volunteers of the ANC and everyone else who support the movement will work for victory. Besides, the opposition have got no answer. They've got no answers. Their only issue is load shedding. Load shedding resolved, there's no opposition in South Africa against the ANC. Without segments of the media supporting the opposition, there's no opposition. What you can't call Herman Mashaba a serious opponent. A guy who wants to take us back to apartheid and doesn't want anything that has got to do with the affirmation of our people and all of that. Everything that was intact during apartheid, he wanted back. He doesn't even say BE must be transformed to mean something else. He says it must be scrapped. He doesn't want affirmative action. The DA says all civil servants, when they come to power, they are gone. You tell me about those people and power. Anyone who wants to vote for these people in a democratic South Africa must examine themselves. They must examine themselves, because here are the people who are saying As an alternative to the ANC, they are going to bring you back to pre-1994. I don't know what EFF offers. It is Father Christmas. Depending on how the leader wake up today, he will be promising you big things. Flip-flopper of note, and he changes his rhythm depending. If the big issue today is about the load shedding, Julius will be on TV calling for you to shut down. That's the revolution he's leading, and there are people who follow him in that regard. So we can go to town about it. There's no principle, there's no backbone, nothing. At least in life and in politics, you must be known for having stood for something. They attack him about foreigners, he changes, he's on the other side. He's no longer very vehement on the foreigners issue like he used to as a matter of principle. Changes depending on what happens. So you tell me that those are the people who are going to come and win overwhelmingly. The biggest loss of the ANC, it will mean that our people do not come out and vote in their numbers. If they don't come out, we'll lose. Even in the election where we garnered close to 8 million votes within a month, they could not obliterate the ANC. Our people still came out in their numbers and vote. In fact, the DA dropped. The biggest hung municipalities in this country are in the Western Cape. The ANC could not be obliterated. Politically, they had all the chances to do so. Our people, as we say, are heartful about things that get to be said and not done. And they will rather not go and vote. They don't offer any alternative. They did not go to them. If they base their analysis on the 46% that we got, that it gives them hope, then why didn't people go to them? They didn't. They stayed at home. They were protesting here at Luthuli House. Davidton, during the campaign, people didn't go and vote. They said, why are we going to vote when we don't have water? In the middle of the campaign, we were hit with load shedding. People complained about load shedding. When I said that to Khutatso, that I expect the polling to be at 30%, they then interpreted to meaning that I'm saying ANC will get 30% next year. I said the polling, when people have got no water, when people have got no electricity, how can you expect the ANC to poll better? Because these are butter and bread issues. They affect you directly. My son, when he's watching TV and there's load shedding in the house, for the first time I heard him saying things. No, I won't tell you. So that's how people, it affects them, because he's enjoying his games, he's doing things, he's watching TV, there comes load shedding. It affects you directly. Huh? No, he didn't speak about it. So Roger Jardine is a project, we know. We know that there is a project called Roger Jardine, who comes from the family of the ANC, a civil servant of note, and then they want him to make him a blackface of the Moonshot comedy. And that is what they want. Now, people who are fearful are the ones who are entertaining the issues of the Moonshot and all of that, not the ANC. So Roger Jardine is a project of Moonshot and of the DA that is going to be their face. They will say no. They will tell you no, there's no such a thing. We know it. We know that project. We are inside that project. We know it. And it will not succeed. But as long as others continue to entertain it, it is fine. But Roger Jardine himself, it's up to him. He wants his legacy politically to disappear over Moonshot and betraying the liberation struggle. He can do that. Anyone does things. Botera, they went to form COPE. using the name of the former president, who over time has clarified that it's got nothing to do with COPE, but they went nonetheless. That thing of removing the president triggered their anger about Polokwane Conference to form an organization. It triggered. It was something that led to them forming an organization. It triggered them. It assisted them. And they used the name of the former president to form an organization. When the ANC took a reckless and a wrong decision to remove Thabo Mbeki, when he was left with a couple of months to become, to get out of, yes, it was a reckless decision. Why do you remove somebody who has not stolen from government, who was doing his job? You sit down, you remove him. What did he do? That's the man who was supposed to ask a question, then Zendo. He didn't. Mantashe arrived there, as the Secretary General told him, he left. He said what time? He wrote a letter, addressed the press conference, left. Didn't fight over it, even though he had all the reasons. Then it triggered people to form an organization because something had visited them, losing power in Polokwane. You wake up, you were a national chair. You wake up the following day, you are nothing. I mean, you were Terra Likota, well-known, Robben Island, UDF, you're gone. Yeah, you wake up every day, you've got withdrawal syndromes. So what do? You form a political party. That political party is dying a natural death as we speak now. Look, ANC leaders, what we are facing with Ezulwini is not an ANC obligation of failing to meet its own obligations. It's not. It's a fraudulent matter. And I've addressed the issue. The ANC state of finance is stable. But politics and financing the liberation struggle is expensive. It's got demands every day. To organize marches, to print T-shirts, all of those things are not cheap. They need money. Now, ANC members do contribute to the party, those who are in business. And even though sometimes they get to be accused of being tenderpreneurs, but they do. I can tell you right now, I was in OR Tambo region. I attended a fundraising dinner. Comrades overnight raised 5 million, which came from black business people who are beneficiaries of the new dispensation. Some of them are afraid because they get to be victimized, because they get to be checked. This one who donated 1 million, how many tenders did he have? And I said to them, and I'm repeating it now, donate to the ANC for the sustenance of your ideas and your belief in this revolution, but do not get into fraudulent tenders. When you got a tender of 12 billion in government, you've got a proper business you are delivering, donate to the ANC, and don't donate underground. Like other political parties, they say don't donate up to 1 million. Donate up until 99 so that you don't declare. Donate. Like Motsepe. 100,000, whatever that it is. Motsepe. Donate to the ANC. Patrice. And donate also to other political parties. He's not fearless because he doesn't owe anybody any corruption. Johan Rupert at least told me once, I see now he's fighting over comradeship. He said, I won't give the ANC money. And I don't support any political party. I don't know how truthful he is. And I was not asking money from him. He was just eventually yeah, he was not asking anything from me. He's a billionaire. He was just telling me what he thinks at that moment. Now, in conclusion, I'm saying to you that the ANC is in a sound financial situation, but we've got our difficulties. And one of our obligations is to pay our staff. And that's what we do. ANC leaders who've got money, they must donate to the organization. And we go to them and ask them every day to donate. And others, bravely so, they do. But there are people who've got a lot of money, you are right, Sam Kele, who are ANC members. Some of them are produced by these ANC policies. They are on the other side now. They are telling us that we must go. Yes? Investec CEO the other day, he was speaking bravely. A product of BE. He got into that Investec through a policy of BE. In over a period of time, he got to be CEO. Today, they are telling us that it's time to go. But after they've finished on the table what was there, they then say, no, we must go. And it's not going to happen like that. Let me tell you, we do have the capacity to respond to everyone, but that is not our way of doing things. And that's why we say ANC veterans cannot be the first ones to decampaign the ANC. We are here. I'm here at Luthuli House. Whether I saw when I was in Algeria, people said Mbalula ran away from. I was in the NWC meeting, which was not held here. And I called the sheriff. I say, what is this movie you are organizing? He said, no, hey, this is not a movie. The truck was just passing. I said, what is your problem? What is this movie you are organizing there at Luthuli House with some truck there? How can you come with a small truck? I mean, that thing will fit only this. And they come here, they organize a movie here, Mahlengi must explain the whole day. At the end of the day, if we are found we don't win a case, we have to pay, we'll pay this tax. Batsho abantu bathi sikhokhe sizokwazi ukukhokha umoya. Khokha Mbalula uzokwazi ukukhokha umoya. That's what they say. Khokha bhuti. Now ngisho kuwe ukuthi wena ukhokha njani ityalo lazi ukuthi alikho bubugebengu. Ukhokha kanjani? Ewe umuntu mawumtyala, you don't go to you khokha. You pay. You sit down with your debtors, you find each other, you make arrangements. We owe taxmen a lot of money. Yeah. Paul Mashatile, when he came in here, we were also faced with the same thing through banks and all of that we must pay our obligations. Even now, Gwen Ramokhupa is paying. I saw some report on City Press when I was in Algeria. That report is wrong. But kola yonke into, because there is this big word, insolvency and liquidation. Which political party like the ANC will allow itself to be liquidated? We are fighting here a big battle of people who want money that they didn't work for. We are fighting here. And to defend our organization. And that's what it's all about. It's not like we don't want to pay. We pay where we know that there was no... we honestly have got an obligation to pay these people because we owe them. I can tell you right now, there are many people who come through here, and then it's not for the first time fraud visited the ANC. Through Gwede Mantashe, people came here and claimed social media. You remember that story? And the general manager was dismissed at Luthuli House by Gwede Mantashe, because people entered into financial obligations without the knowledge of the organization. It's not the first time. People, our staff members, conniving with people to make money out of the organization that is poor as the ANC. We must part ways with millions of rands for the monies that we could be using to pay people who have genuinely rendered a service to the organization. We must now go raise money and pay these people. So that is our battle. That is our battle with these people who have sat down, empowered by our staff members to defraud the organization. Thank you very much.